Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Doing something a little different today. No lights behind me. I mean, they still work. I just decided to go without them. And what we're doing today is we're talking about a new fragrance cologne. Yes, another one. So this is from Maison Alhambra. This popped up on Fragrance Bias website at the same time as Kismet Angel, which I just did a video on the other day. And this one is called Tabac. I had originally heard about this a little bit before they had it on Fragrance Bias website, and I'll have this linked in the description in case you want to check it out. But I had heard about this before, and I actually heard that it was a Fève Délicieuse clone. How do you like that? Fève Délicieuse. So I was interested to pick it up, and then even more interested when I got it in and realized that that's not what it is. Actually, no. It is a clone, and it is a clone of a Dior, just not that one. So in today's video, what we'll be doing is, as always, we'll be taking a look at the presentation. Really made it obvious what they were knocking off, didn't they? We will smell the fragrance, talk about the fragrance, and I'll let you know whether or not you should check it out. So let's jump into it. So as I said, guys, this one linked in the description below in case you do want to check it out. First thing that we're gonna do is check out that presentation. So here we have a good look at the box. As I said, very obvious what they're doing here, knocking off the Dior Privé line fragrances. You've got the name of the fragrance there and the concentration on the front, along with the name of the house. It's an eau de parfum, and the name obviously there, Tabac. On top of the box, you have the Maison Alhambra logo. And on the back of the box, you have your certificate of authenticity, your sticker of authenticity, just in case you were worried that you got a fake $20 clone. Then on the bottom of your box, you have your ingredients and your badge code. Mine expires 09/2027. And in case you were unaware, Lattafa Perfumes is the brand behind Maison Alhambra. And here we have the bottle. Looks very similar to the Christian Dior Privé line bottles, as you would expect. The sticker on the front there, a little cheaper looking than the Dior, obviously, but you know what they're going for. You got the logo of the house there once again, a little sticker on the bottom, and the cap, unfortunately, not magnetic. Nah, just a plain Jane cap. Ugh. Let's go ahead and blast a couple sprays here so you can see how the atomizer works. It's okay, it's not great. So as of this video, this fragrance is gonna run you $18.43 US on Fragrance Bias website. That is for a 100 ml size bottle. And that price, as I always say, will fluctuate. It depends on the exchange rate between Canadian dollars and US dollars. So it could go up a little bit, could go down a little bit, but it's gonna be right in that range. So as I said, originally I was told this was a clone of something else. That's what I had heard. And I did think it was a little sus because the name is Tabac. And I was like, are you sure? Got it in, sprayed it on, and I was immediately like, oh yeah, that's not Fève. That is Tobacolor. Tobacolor. Every time it's Tobacolor. I still hate the name as much today as I did when it first came out, but I like the fragrance a lot. Really enjoy that Dior, actually. Fantastic for fall and winter time. Really nice, change, twist to that pipe tobacco DNA that's been done a number of times, but pulled off very well here. And I probably don't really need to tell you this, but Tabac being $18 and some change is way cheaper than the Dior. Now this bottle is a little bit bigger in size. It's 4.25 ounces as compared to 3.4 ounces over here. So you do get a little bit more in the Dior, but the Dior is gonna run you $310 US. So you could say there's a bit of a price discrepancy between the two. So much so that you could buy 10 bottles of Tabac and that would run you $184 and you would still have about $125 still yet to go to reach the Dior's price point. So yeah, there's a bit of a difference there. So yeah, the fragrance, the way it smells is the most important part. That price obviously very helpful, but let's get to the smell. Now, as I said, when I first smelled this, I immediately knew what it was a clone of. So that's a good thing. because you do want to have that immediate recognition of what the fragrance is trying to get across. You don't want to spray this on and start questioning, like, is that actually this other fragrance? I don't know, maybe if I stretch my imagination and this, that, and the other thing, and you start making excuses for it. You don't have to do that here. You know right away, okay, this is what they're trying to emulate. This is trying to be this. I mean, obviously the packaging is obvious, the name and everything, but the scent, you do get that right away that, yeah, they're going for this. Is it the exact same? No, it isn't. The Dior is going to be a bit smoother. It also has more sweetness off the top, and frankly, it has more sweetness the whole way through. So the opening, the mid, the dry down, Dior Tobacolor is going to be the sweeter of the two. And one of the interesting things here is that some of those notes from Tobacolor that you don't really think of when you think of the fragrance, you know, the stuff that kind of falls to the back of your mind, things like the peach or the citruses, those become so much more noticeable when you compare side by side, because it's like Tabac couldn't quite get that peach or the citrus or anything else. It does have like that plum, and it has that honey, not as much as the Dior, but it is missing to me that peach. And as I said, that's a little interesting because maybe that's not what you focus on with the Dior. You focus on the plum, the honey, the pipe tobacco, et cetera, et cetera. The peach falls by the wayside. When you compare them side by side, you're like, oh, that peach, especially in the opening, the support that gives, that's very noticeable when it's ramped down. So that's one of the big differences for me, especially in the opening. That fruitiness, that fruity sweetness comes through much clearer in the Dior. But Tabac is still pulled off extremely well. As I said, it's not as smooth, so don't expect that. It has more of an emphasis on the incense, like that little bit of smokiness going together with the tobacco initially. It does have sweetness. It does have that kind of honeyed feel, that darker fruitiness. It's got that. But that more sugary sweet aspect, it does not have that. That's really the main part that's going to differentiate this from the Dior. And of course, the Dior being the smoother fragrance overall, but when you're talking this huge gap in pricing, kind of expected. The two fragrances get much closer as they dry down though. So while in the opening, you can smell these side by side and be like, okay, yeah, this one is the Dior. This one has more of that sweetness. This one over here, a little bit smokier initially, but as they dry, they start to do that deal where they start to converge. So they start a little further away, but still very similar. And then they start doing this deal until they start to smell close to indistinguishable in the air once you hit the dry down. So this is another one of those fragrance clones where the longer it's on your skin, the closer and closer and closer it gets to the fragrance that it's emulating. Now, as far as seasons, it's gonna be the same as the Dior. So for me, it's gonna be more of a fall and wintertime fragrance, maybe early spring before it starts to heat up. And as far as daytime or nighttime use, most people are going to say that this is more of an evening fragrance because it does have that emphasis on the tobacco, on the incense, that bit of smoke, on that sweetness, that bit of honey and plum. I think realistically, you can wear it during the day just as well if you do like the fragrance, but overall leans more toward nighttime use. And as far as performance goes, it's good. Really nice performance. The atomizer, as I showed you before, not great. You know, it just kind of does a little puff, but the performance on this is nice. Lasts a long time on my skin, projects very well. This one in the opening and the mid maybe doesn't have quite as much of a punch because the sweetness is ramped down a little bit. So Tabac, overall, what are we doing with it? You know, how is it? Is it a decent alternative, a good alternative, a great alternative? Truthfully, when you factor everything in, I think it's a great alternative because you're dealing with something here that is sub $20. That is about as cheap as you will ever find a wearable good fragrance. You start going below that price point, you know, $15, $12, good luck. Most anything in that price range is going to be absolute garbage. And honestly, at $18, most things are absolute garbage also. So yeah, $18, this is a great pickup. It has really nice performance. It lasts a long time. It will get you very close to this over here, which is 310, and up from there if you get a larger size bottle. But for the more comparable size bottle, 310. Like I said, you can get 10 of these and still have over $100 left instead of getting just one of the Dior. And especially for people that are, you know, not rolling in money, that's a huge deal. But yeah, back to this one. It's not too harsh. In the opening, first 15, 20 minutes, it's noticeably not as smooth as the Dior, but it is not anywhere close to as rough around the edges as clones were years ago, as I've said a number of times. And on the whole, it is a great, great scent. At this price point, I can wholeheartedly tell you, if you want an alternative to Tobacolor, get this one. It's very well done. If the price point starts creeping up to, I don't know, it'd have to creep up pretty far, but I feel like, I don't know, if it creeps up like above 40 or something, 35, 40 at that point, you know, maybe start to have second thoughts or something. But even then, that's so much cheaper than the Dior. It's like, ugh. And essentially it's just another Lattafa. Like, I don't know why they don't just release it under the Lattafa name, but you know, Maison Alhambra, here we go. So there we go. Tabac, great alternative to Dior Tobacolor. Thank you guys for hanging with me. They did release a whole bunch of other ones onto the website that I have not purchased yet, that I haven't got my hands on. So I'll try to scoop up some of the other new fragrances that I saw them post up on the website. And once I can get those in, I'll let you know if they're any good. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.